All right. All right. Well, folks, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here in Brampton. It's great to be back, and I'll just say some opening comments, and then many of you have been kind enough to come to our press conferences before, our media roundtables, open up for topics that you want to discuss, and really pleased to have my strong team here joining with me as well. Pam Hundle, Emershit Gill, Sylvia Jones, who's our caucus chair, Harjit Jaswal, Randeep Sandhu, our outstanding team here in Peel Region. They'll have some comments as well, especially if we get into local issues, and or if they think that Hudak goes on too long with his answers, they'll cut me off as well. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I wanted to talk a bit about where we stand in the province today and what it means for folks, men and women here in Brampton, and please take any questions that you have. Ontario's come to a turning point. We need to take a new and different course to get Ontario back on top. To make sure we can provide good jobs for our kids, make sure we can provide better opportunities for business to succeed, and restore hope to the 600,000 women and men who have lost hope in the province of Ontario. We want to see an Ontario that's leading again, providing the best quality public services, but in order to get that, we've got to get our spending under control and get our economy moving again to create jobs. And just like everyday families here in Brampton, governments need to learn how to spend within their means, spend what they can afford. Because if they don't, then that means we'll put more money into debt, not going to things we care about like our highways, our health care, or our education system. Sadly, today, we spend $10 billion on interest on debt, basically paying interest on money that we've already borrowed and spent. You know what $10 billion is? That's more than we spend on roads, bridges, highways, and subway systems in the entire province of Ontario. All of that gone each and every year because governments have not controlled spending. What will we do? We'll get our priorities straight. We'll invest in key areas like health, education, transportation, but find savings, eliminate the waste and bureaucracy so we can make sure that Ontario government lives within its means just like Ontario taxpayers do. Second, you can't just cut your way to prosperity. You need to reduce spending. There's no doubt about that. If anybody came here to Brampton and said that they can balance the budget, not reduce spending, they're either naive or they think you are. But you also have to grow the economy at the same time. You can't simply cut your way to prosperity. That's why my team and I have put forward our bold PC plan to get our economy going, to get Ontario moving again, and to create jobs. With more revenue comes in, that means we can afford the services that we care deeply about. Unfortunately, we've seen that the Liberals and the NDP, they seem to think that Ontario is on the right course. They look to solutions that involve bigger government, higher taxes, more rules and red tape. That's going to take Ontario backwards. I guess the good news is, if you think Ontario is on the right course, you have two parties to choose from, the Liberals and the NDP. But if you think Ontario can do better than this, if you think we can restore hope, growth, and opportunity to this great province of Ontario, it's time to take a different course. It's time to change leadership in this province, and it's time for the PC plan to get Ontario back on top. So folks, I'll leave it at that, and happy to take any questions that you may have for myself or my colleagues.
Did you take a question off track, Tim?
We're already off track right off the top, eh?
No, the reason why I wanted to ask fresh.
Yeah.
NDP is trying to save us 15%, and the Premier said she will side with NDP. Will your party support?
Well, listen, we're happy to support any plan that's going to reduce auto insurance rates. We just need to see that plan. Auto insurance rates are too expensive in our province. Ontario has the highest auto insurance rates in the country. We're more than twice what Alberta has, for example. And I want to see people with growing paychecks, not growing cost of living. And this also relates to the economy. People have more money in their pockets. It's not going in auto insurance. They can buy new products for their homes, clothes for their kids, fix up their house, and that'll get our economy moving again. But here's the problem I have. The NDP has not brought forward any proposal. They've talked about these quick fixes. They've named a number, but they've not put one single idea on the table on how to do that. we're waiting for that plan to come forward. Maybe it'll come forward later this afternoon. But I think voters in Brampton and Peel and across Ontario see through this old style of politics where you make promises with no way to back them up. So let me tell you what we're doing. There's a guy named Jeff Hudak, who spells his last name Y-U-R-E-K. He's our MPP, who's been appointed as our head for auto insurance. I know that my colleagues here have had Jeff for town halls in Brampton, where he spoke directly to people who are struggling to pay for auto insurance for their kids, who are seeing auto insurance take away their ability to even put food on the table. And Jeff has actually brought forward a plan to be back here in Brampton in the next couple of weeks to talk about it in detail. A real plan that actually reduce auto insurance rates, not these empty promises of the NDP.
The question is, will you vote for the motion of releasing to reduce the 15%? Obviously, if House voted for it, then the fix will be found later on.
I don't believe that.
Vote for that motion.
Well, first of all, we've already said that we're not going to support a motion unless they actually have a plan to back it up. And this is what I think it's all about too. So if they've had a lot of time. I know they've talked a good game. This time they actually put some ideas on the table. If they do so, we'll be glad to support it. They've not put one idea on the table yet to reduce auto insurance rates. We have. I hope they'll support our plan, and you'll see more details on the next couple of weeks. Let me tell you what this is all about, though, too. Well, I know that the NDP have talked this game. They've put down a very watered-down motion in the House. There's been no detail. I think this is all about an NDP excuse to get the Liberals on board to prop up this government. Every day in the House we see this. The NDP is up there echoing what we say. $1 billion wasted in the gas plants, $1 billion wasted on e-health, 600,000 unemployed people. But we'll support the Liberal government and keep them going even longer for some big promises, some changes down the road. I don't think people buy that. We need to change course and change team.
See, this insurance thing was messed up by Peter Carlos, when Bob Ray was.
You remember him, do you?
Of course I do. Of course, I'm a journalist, right? But if he can
You look
go
younger,
back,
that's all.
Yeah, so Tim, if he can go back to the same pattern where there was no fault thing, I think that's what we want to bring in to reduce the premium. Not by 15%. We have to go back to the old system when there was no fault insurance thing. See, now you hit a car, it's no fault. You don't care.
Yeah. Well, listen, you make an important point. So I don't think well, I'm the leader, so if I get in trouble with Jeff, I can at least pull the leader card. So he'll be here in a couple weeks in more detail. But I'll give you some of the, we've had caucus meetings and all of our candidates here have participated. So I'll give you a bit of a preview as to what's going to be in this plan. Here's the essential problem with auto insurance. We have the third most regulated auto insurance product in North America. So if you want to count all of the rules, if you want to judge the number of pieces of red tape as your measure of success, we're the third best at red tape and regulation and runaround. What does that do? In any business, whether it's a restaurant like we are here today in journalism, the more red tape, the more runaround you have, the higher costs are going to be. Number two, we have a tremendous backlog in our system of mediation. If somebody gets in an accident and there's a dispute, it is now over 400 days to get that resolved. That's also driving up our auto insurance rates. And third, we have a significant problem with fraud in our system, with anywhere from 750 million to about $1.5 billion in fraud. You combine those three factors, it makes Ontario's auto insurance among the most unaffordable in North America. I will ask you, the NDP and the Liberals will talk a good game, which one of those three have they actually brought a solution forward to? We have. We have a 4-point plan that can actually bring savings in auto insurance. It's a real solution, not an empty promise to try to get votes.
But I would say none of the issues which you just mentioned have been brought into the system by any of us. It has been done either by the NDP or the Conservatives or by the Liberals. So now that putting all together, we have a system which we can't cure, not our fault as a citizen of the province. At the end of the day, all the three different political parties have a proposal to address it. Nobody agrees with anything, and we as a people keep on paying the high premium. So you or any other leader keep on explaining to us all the issues and the problem. I mean, what role we can play to address any of that? None.
Well, listen, I can understand why people will be skeptical. You do have a government that promised that auto insurance rates
No, I
are
would
going
say,
to go
sorry, it's not the government. Like the system which you just explained to us,
Right.
this has been work in the progress for the last, I don't know, 10 years or something. You know, so it is all the three different political parties which are equally to be blamed for whatever we have on the table. At the end of the day, instead of $500, we pay $700. And the CEO, all the insurance companies take millions and billions in their pension plans and their bonuses and the stock options. So I will say, like, on this side of the table, people at large are not going to look into and understand the issues that you are explaining, and end of the day, we can't agree to anything solution, so you keep on paying.
I'll give my colleagues a chance to talk about this from a local perspective. Let me disagree with your point. People are cynical, and I understand why. And there have been promises by the current government to reduce auto insurance rates. I think they're going to go down. They said by 20%. They've actually gone the opposite direction. We now have the highest auto insurance rates in Canada and among the highest in all of North America. Has auto insurance always been at that level? Actually, auto insurance has been like a roller coaster. It has gone up and down. It did go up in the mid-1990s. It actually came down in 1996, 97. It went back up again about 2002, 2003, and it came down. Concern I have is it's not coming down. It's flat or going up. So you need to make a fundamental change. So it has gone up and gone down in the last 15, 20 years. But we're on a very dangerous course right now that is causing average families to make some pretty tough decisions just to be able to drive their car to work or get their kids to school, and that's not right. So what are the 4 areas that we're looking at? Number 1, more competition in the system. As I said earlier on, in any business, whether you're selling retail or you're running a restaurant, you got all kinds of rules that handcuff you. You're not going to have competition. So to have less regulation, more open competition, more people offering auto insurance as a product, including the ability to file rates and put them into use, this will help bring the pressures down and pass on relief. Here's an example. For example, if you're a good driver in Quebec, you can actually put a chip in your car today that will measure how hard you hit the gas, how hard you hit the brake, do you move your wheel side to side, or are you a safe driver? They can actually measure that. And then the good drivers, the safe drivers, the law-abiding citizens, actually get a decrease in their rates. Modern technology is being used elsewhere in the world. It's banned in Ontario because of our regulations. That would help Brampton families who follow the rules of the road actually get lower auto insurance rates. So there's step number 1. The second one is to address the backlog in mediation in our system. As I said, I think there's 17,000. There you go. Harjeet's right, 17,000 cases that are backlogged in our system because of disputes. And they're making everybody go through particular mediators, and these are dragging out 400 days. So if you're in an accident trying to get your claim for relief, you can imagine having to wait over a year to get that. And as a result, auto insurance companies don't know the way those are going to go, so they're raising interest rates. They're raising their auto insurance rates as a balance. Our plan is to get more mediators in place to clear up this backlog and get them done. That's fair to people who are waiting, but it also impacts on people on their auto insurance rates as a bottom line. Number 3 in the system is to combat fraud in the system, make sure we have high standards when we see people sometimes in the tow truck business, et cetera, that are beyond regulation, that are driving up costs, to make sure we eradicate fraud in the system, reward those who are following the laws in our province. And the 4th aspect of this is accountability, actually holding the company's CEOs accountable for the rates, having them sign off on those rates and quality of customer service. That's a real plan, it's a thoughtful plan. We've heard from individuals in Brampton, from those selling auto insurance. We'll hear more details when Jeff comes to town. But we're the only party that's actually taking this issue seriously, not making all kinds of accusations and promises of legislature with nothing to back it up. We actually have a real plan to get relief. Pam, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that because I know, Mr. Ball, your point is, you made a really good point that it's a very complicated system and we're trying to show you all the steps that are involved. And when I've been door to door over the last 2 elections, it's the #1 issue that was brought up. And the fact of the matter is, even if we give the Liberals the benefit of the doubt that in their first term in 2003 they had the opportunity to fix this system, and it was their first term and they couldn't, you're still looking at another 5+ years to fix a broken system. And in Brampton, it is near and dear to everyone's hearts because Brampton has some of the highest auto insurance rates across the country. But the fact of the matter is that they haven't been improved. Nothing's been done. And I recently did a town hall with MPP Frank Cleese for the trucking industry. Again, this issue was brought up. And he stood up very confidently to say that if any party can just stand up and state that they're going to reduce rates without a plan, I'm sorry, they're blatantly lying to you. It's not feasible, it's not possible, this is a very complicated system. You have to have a practical way to actually tackle this issue. And the problem here, what I see is that when I went door to door, I asked my constituents, have you spoken to your local MPP about this issue? What answer were you given? And they were not given any answer. This was an issue that's been brought up over and over and over again. We have to ask ourselves, especially here in Brampton, what have the local MPPs done over the past 5, 7, 10 years to tackle this issue, which they know is a huge issue in the ridings? And I think at the end of the day, you really have to be realistic that we have a broken system, it has to be fixed, but you can't just throw a number in the air and make voters think that that's actually going to happen when it hasn't over how many years now.
My question is, every party is blaming the other party for the auto insurance or whatever may be the problem in Ontario. Why don't all the parties have a collective committee and they should fix up the problems? And why they are fueling the endurance?
The committee exists actually.
They should have a committee and they should fix the problems. And it is existing for so long time. And every Ontarian is suffering for that. They should fix up if they are sincerely looking for some reducing the insurance. All the political parties should sincerely work for that.
That's a fantastic idea.
It's very sad that nobody is sincere and everyone is looking for the votes. And next time when there will be elections, every party will say we will try to reduce the auto insurance, and nothing will be done. 5 years will be complete, and again the elections will be there. So I think there should be. Every party, all the parties should have some very sincere efforts, collective efforts, having a committee and fix up all those problems.
If I may, there is actually a legislative committee that just last week expanded their mandate. It was currently to study gridlock, and it is now gridlock and insurance. So there is a desire on all three parties to figure out the solution. Quick fixes is not where they need to go. They need to actually study the entire system, figure out where the blocks are, and then move forward on coming forward with solutions that may not be 15 because it's just a number. So once you have reviewed where the blocks are, where the money is being used and wasted, then you can actually start talking substantively about what kind of decrease it will equate to for families.
Mr. Hudak, I'm actually trying to write something down that I could write in my news story tomorrow, that you had something new to offer, which is unfortunately not. Frank Cleese came during last campaign to Brampton at the Shadow Body and talked about auto insurance, that your party is committed to doing so. But in the last few years, I haven't seen anything that you put forward in the legislation, which was turned down or whatever, the plan you're talking about. So you weren't able to prepare a plan. NDP came with a motion. Why not then vote for that motion, then eventually work out your plan, and if that plan is better, can be up to later on. But why not, if somebody's taken an initiative, why wouldn't you vote for it if you are for to reduce the rates? That's my question.
We'll support a plan, and we're not going to support some old school political games by the NDP, which I will argue is not about auto insurance. It's an excuse to prop up the Liberal government. They're going to try to get Liberal support for this motion. In return, despite the $1 billion that they spent on canceling gas plants in Mississauga and Oakville, despite the waste at eHealth and Orange, the NDP is looking at propping up the Liberal government. We've done our fair share. Where the committee does exist, as Sylvia said, we're bringing our ideas to the table. We'll support other ideas that make sense. I just can't judge whether they make sense or not because they've not put any ideas on the table. And I think people in Brampton will see through the efforts of the NDP to try to pull at people's heartstrings, to try to play with their emotions, but they don't believe in this old school politics where you make promises with not one single idea on how to back it up.
If I can follow up on that, like you are right when you talk about, for example, Orange or e-health or this plant here. But the problem with these three issues and many other issues is that we don't have any legislative mechanism to make the government accountable if they do wrong. I mean, for example, the Orange. We keep on hearing one story after another pretty well every second day in the news. The thing is, at the end of the day, I may be some wrong in saying it, but government cannot do anything about it. At the most, they can take it to the court, whatever the procedure and the mechanism is. But there is no way we're going to get back whatever money is wasted on e-file, e-medical. We are not going to get back anything which is wasted on Orange. And we're not going to get back the money which has already been spent and will be spent to close these plants. So the thing is, mechanism is not there. There is no accountability in the sense what the opposition party demands, doesn't matter which one it is, that if a minister makes a mistake, the next day there is a question answer session and they say minister should resign. Well, the minister, if I would be minister, I will resign and say, okay, I'm not responsible anymore. The thing is that minister should not be asked to resign, and he should be forced to sit in that chair and do the accounting and the math of it, that what happened to it. But we don't have that mechanism. So all we can talk about is Orange as much as we want, or e-file, or so on and so forth. But in terms of dollars and cents, nothing's going to happen.
Let me answer that question, and let's just put it in terms for general life. I mean, if you have somebody on your payroll that keeps stealing from you, how much longer are you going to keep them on the job? How much longer will they be on payroll? We have an opportunity actually to change the government in Ontario. We think that Ontario can do a lot better, that we can create more jobs, get our economy going, stop the waste and scandal. I don't know why the NDP is planning to prop up this Liberal government. You can actually change the government, not simply administer. On the second aspect, here's how I'd approach these situations differently if I have the honor of serving as Premier. I'd hold my cabinet ministers accountable. And if I had a cabinet minister that had a kind of scandal like e-health or Orange, I'd fire that cabinet minister. And that would set a tone awfully quickly for the other cabinet ministers to pull up their socks. If you don't do that, if you look the other way, you blame bad luck or bureaucrats, it keeps happening over and over again. And I think that's been the problem with the current government. Nobody's held accountable for Orange, nobody's held accountable for the gas plants, these lottery and gaming corporation scandals. They keep happening over and over again.
No, that's what I'm saying. We don't have a legislative provision to do that.
Well, I'd argue, if it keeps happening over and over again, there's that old expression by Albert Einstein, right? The definition of insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over again and you think you're going to get a different result. We've been banging our head up against this wall of a lack of accountability with this government, and nothing ever seems to change except we get another scandal. Premier needs to hold cabinet ministers accountable. That's the way our system works. If a cabinet minister has a scandal, they step down, they get replaced. And then the others learn pretty quickly that they'll be held to a high standard. If you lower the bar, you're going to have more people and more scandals.
And this way we're actually developing the immunity of the masses. Like, you get away with this, next time they'll get away with more. And eventually the whole standard of democracy comes down.
But I think people, as I said, there comes to a certain point that if you have somebody who keeps cheating you, or in government that they keep abusing your tax dollars, why do you keep giving them the job again?
And but do you agree that money gone is money wasted, that money now?
Well, no.
No?
You know, for example, I've said that we need a judicial inquiry when it comes to the gas plant scandal, when it comes to e-health. If we can get those dollars back to put towards healthcare here in Brampton, we should do so. It's pretty clear that the current government doesn't believe that. But I think an important question to ask ourselves is, why does the NDP keep propping up this government? We had 3 votes in the legislature this week, and 3 times the NDP chose to keep the government alive. We'll see what happens when the budget comes forward, but I think that if we want to promise a better future for our children, if we want to ensure we have good health care in Brampton so people don't have to drive into Orangeville for their health care, if we want to build a better highway system so goods and products can get to market, we need to change the team that leads this province. We put our plan out there. We're prepared to lead Ontario to a better future. Clear choice. only the PC party can do that. The Liberal and the NDP are going to give you more of the same.
Mr. Hudak,
Yes.
I think same people are asking all the questions.
Yeah, sorry about that. And the same guy's
It's not a
answering all the
question,
questions.
it's not observation I'd like to share with you.
Please.
I've seen you when you took over the helms of the PC party in Ontario. You have worked very hard to penetrate into the South Asians and the other communities, which is the old traditional PC party, integration with the immigrants, so forth. I see so many faces who have already committed to be running in the next election. It's pretty good. But somehow I feel that Tim Hudak, who is representing the inspiration of the PC party and the citizens of Ontario, has not come out forcefully to attract the majority of the voters what you are offering as a premier. What is your answer to that?
Each and every day I'm out there talking about our plan. And it's a bold plan that we can turn our province around. It's bold, it's optimistic, and they're new ideas. And every opportunity I get, I'm on top of that plan, which I appreciate how many members of the media we have here today, and I can't imagine the hundreds of thousands, million plus people who will hear about this press conference, so I thank you for that. Earlier today I sat down as well with Sing Tao to talk to members of the Chinese community as well. Earlier today I met with members of the Ontario Trucking Association. I know in industry and transportation very important here in the Brampton area too. So I use every opportunity I can to get that message out. Sometimes you're leader of the opposition. It's not always a glory job. I know I've gone to different communities and done a press conference and sort of one or two people show up, or I remember one time I went on a cable show and I got bumped down for the pet show instead. They were cute pets and all that. Here's a lesson for our future MPPs, by the way, so I may have had that. One time I got asked to judge a pet show at a local fair for kids' cutest pets. Don't ever judge a pet show for the cutest pet, because every kid thinks they've got the most adorable dog. So here's why I'm feeling. This is the challenge. I'm not complaining, it's the nature of the job. But here's why I'm feeling very energetic about it. I mean, the fact that we have here almost 15 different media outlets have come here to talk about the future of our province. And I'm seeing gathering crowds at our events as well. There's a growing appetite in Ontario that says, you know what, we're on the wrong path. That Ontario can dust itself off and get off its feet. We can move forward together again. So it's been a lot of hard work. We don't always get the big crowds, but I'm thrilled to have this kind of attention here today. So many readers, excellent questions, and I sense that's building. I think people are looking for change in our province, something new and different.
I have a question.
I'll be able to move it around a little bit. Is that okay?
What about the highways? As you know, the people are doubling here, and there is no highways, and there's a lot of problems going on. So do you have any plan of doing something?
We need to get Ontario moving again. This means that people can have a better quality of life because you can get home to see your daughter's school play, have dinner with the family. It also means we can create jobs again because you can actually get products to market on a timely basis. Here's another important fact on this too, talking about, Brampton is badly locked in. Whenever I meet with Mayor Fennell or members of council, it's a top issue they will bring forward on the economy as transportation systems. The Greater Toronto Area is the heart of our economy. And when I say that, I'm not talking about simply Ontario, I'm talking about Canada. I don't know if you know this, but 1 out of every $4 produced in Canada, not just Ontario, in Canada, comes from the GTA. But you can't have a healthy economy if that heart has badly clogged arteries. Our plan, invest in our highways, and also to invest in subways. Now I know that doesn't mean subway for Brampton, that's for Toronto, but it'll help people when they make those connections. I don't believe in ripping up more streets for LRT. I think that makes our traffic problems worse. Now this is an important challenge for us to take on. We need to find ways to finance these projects. We need to look at new and innovative solutions and private partnerships. But if we don't invest in our highways and in our subway systems, I'm worried that this is going to come to a complete standstill cost of jobs and impact on our quality of lives. Part of our plan too is to upload the TTC, subway, and LRT and fuse it in with GO, so that you have one provincial transportation system. Those are the two spines of our transit system. You fuse them together, and you bring into that the area highways as well, the 400, the 410, the 401, and from the Toronto level, the Gardner, the Don Valley, and the Allen, into one decision-making unit at the provincial level. One of our challenges is we've got everybody in the business, and when, you should know in your own business, when everybody's in charge, nobody is. So the province is going to seize the wheel. We'll set those priorities, and ours are highways in the GTA and subways for Toronto and out of Toronto. Any of you guys want to add in terms of local priorities here for Brampton?
I want to bring up this issue with our transportation, because I come from transportation background. Our licensing plates, they're set to go up again another 40%. We bought plates for $1,500 for our trucks, and for this year we're buying for $21, and for next year we're set to buy for $27. The rates are not moving at all. I wrote to the Minister for Transportation and with the Ontario Trucking Association, and the Minister said, you know, we don't have a choice, and the rates have not gone up since 1980. Well, our fares have not gone up since 1980 either. So what this government is doing is it's trying to tax everything that's actually moving. There are no new revenues, and we're constantly being saddled with more cost. We had a choice to buy a better healthcare plan, a disability plan, and opt out of WSIB. Now the government is forcing that on us. And there's hardly any money to be realized in trucking, and people are parking their trucks already. And this is going to be a killer. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy. One more thing I'll add. It's an excellent question, because this is a big economic issue for the GTA, and I know Sylvia wants to add to this too, as a member who represents a significant portion of Peel is in her riding as well. The reality is, when it comes to transportation, I outlined the changes we would make. We would set different priorities in the current government. Ours would be highways and subways to help create jobs, get our economy going, people spending time together. The second thing is, we need to make sure that before you go asking people to give another dollar, that you have to make sure that every dollar they currently send in government is spent as efficiently as possible. We owe that obligation. People have already been told that, oh, if you increase the health tax, we'll balance the books. Oh, then they need the HST, they can balance the books. They increase those taxes, now we're actually deeper in debt than we were at that time. So we owe that obligation to people. You also have to have partnerships with the private sector. When I hear countries like India, Singapore, Hong Kong and Shanghai, cities like that in Europe, if they can build highway and subway projects at 1/3 the cost we can in Ontario, we have an obligation to look at those types of public-private partnerships as well. Then there will be a gap, let's be honest about that, in terms of the kind of highway and subway infrastructure we need and our ability to pay for that. That gap, there are a number of ideas that have been put out there, from the Toronto Board of Trade to the Brampton Board of Trade to Civic Action. We need to look at those ideas and get advice from people. But we do say, we draw the line on putting tolls on existing highways. People have already paid for those highways. It's unfair then to punish them with throwing a new toll on top, a mandatory toll on top of highways that they've already paid for. And secondly, that is really going to hit families hard here in Brampton and Peel, because they don't have an alternative. If you were living in London, England, there's an alternative between an extensive subway system and the highways. But here, you don't have an alternative. There'd be nothing more than a tax grab. And I get very nervous when I hear the Liberals talking about tolls on our highways. People have already paid for that, and a big part of that price of the gas pump, that's taxes as well.
We have time for 2 more questions, so the people reporters that haven't had a chance to ask a question, please.
Did you want to add to that?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We've got 2 questions.
You
I have a
asked
question,
what
Tim.
people
Just
require.
one question for newspaper holders. I have a question, very valid
Okay,
question.
you were in line, so we'll do that, and here, go ahead.
One question. I was going to say that I've been going back and forth to Police Park for the last 35 years.
Come on.
Honest to
You
God.
couldn't even know how to ride a bike 35 years ago.
35 years, Tim. We had a very good access to PC party leaders before, but your communication, I'm sorry to say, we're not getting through. We write to you, we don't get an answer. We write to Pam, we don't get an answer. We send you invitation, we don't get recognition, we don't get no answer. So we have to pay attention. Like, I remember sending text to John Tory, and the same day I would get an answer.
Right.
I don't have your business card. Right. I don't know if I can send you a text. Voters, journalists would like to have access to your office. So why is that? Why is it all changed? Why don't we have good access to your office?
Well, listen, if there's a breakdown in communications, we'll remedy that, right? We need every opportunity that we can have to get our message about how we can get Ontario on a better path. So I apologize about that. We get that fixed up. And what I'm trying to do as well is make sure I get out to the regions, the whole press conferences like this, and to take questions. Sometimes you do at Queen's Park, you've got the whole gallery media there too.
I didn't get any answers since 2 months.
Okay, thanks. We'll look
Can you address the gentleman?
Yep, please go ahead.
You asked about this area, you also said that you have to look at overseas, why are they doing the thing cheaper than here?
Yeah.
Then why is the British Columbia auto insurance working? Why don't we look at Toronto over there? Why is it working there? Why is it working here? That's one question. Why can't we follow that policy to Ontario? Number two is this area you asked, what is required in this area? I think we're looking for a university. In this area, people are dying for a university to come in.
Okay. With respect to other provinces, yeah, I mean, as I said, Ontario has the highest auto insurance rates in Canada. That means there are a number of other models. Some are government run, but the majority are actually private sector run with government regulation and oversight. So we should definitely look at the other provinces. There's a whole bunch that are lower than us for how they've taken this on. But in my opening comments, I did outline that the major differences between Ontario and other provinces and states. We have the third thickest set of rule books run around in hassle that slows down competition. Anytime you limit competition, that means the price goes up. The second major difference with Ontario was the backlog on these mediation claims as well, to wait 400 days. That's a major problem. And Ontario, because we have the richest benefit package of other provinces as well, has also become a target for fraud. Our fraud challenge in Ontario is among the greatest in North America. So those three things are already very clear to us as PCs that need to be addressed, and why we're higher than the other provinces, and I suspect you'll get that across the board.
I wanted to add something there. The ICBC, the British Insurance Company of British Columbia. So this was studied in 1991 when Bob Rae government was in power. Because of the NAFTA, for us to go public at this stage, I mean in 1991 the cost was $5 billion. And if we were to get all these companies in insurance out of this province at this moment, the cost is about $40 billion that is tied up in contracts. So nobody's actually going to touch that model because that's a huge cost. And this is a system that works for, say, St. Thomas. It works for smaller jurisdictions, and it has worked for us for the longest time. And now this has been sort of dragged into mud. We need, this is a good formulation, but we need it to work. It's not working at the moment because there's too much abuse going on. Few people get in and take away all that was to be paid out to everybody else. And I'll leave you to the university question.
I will add on over here too. We are looking into the system in other provinces and all over North America too. We saw that New Jersey did this. They tried to cut the 15% like NDP is saying now. They said they will cut 15%. It was gone down, but within 3 years it went up 28%. The reason, most of the companies left the province, and then there was less competition, and most of the people, they were getting insurance at higher rate than they were getting before. That's the reason we are going over there. We are looking at it. Our critic Jeff Hudak is looking into this.
So just want to give
Mr. Hudak, my name is Manan Gupta, just a supporting question related to the insurance. What timeline should an ordinary Ontarian look at your party, if your government, if you make the government, for a real break on Ontario insurance, on auto insurance?
We can get to it right away.
Day one, should like within a month, or will you again set up committees and committees and committees, We have already seen enough committees, enough reports coming through us. We want a timeline, okay. First 3 months, there will be a break, Let's hear that commitment from you.
I don't see any reason why you couldn't table auto insurance reform legislation immediately in the first session of the House. In fact, we'd be willing to do it now if the other parties would support our plan. But no, I would make it a priority. The longer you delay, the harder it is to fix the system, the more the costs are going forward. We've done our homework. We'd have a bill ready to go out of the gate.
Ms. Brock?
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. I don't know if somebody asked this question, but since last year, we seem to be seeing a trend, whether it's the federal government or the Ontarian government or the municipalities for that matter, is attracting a lot of international business. Like yesterday, for instance, there was this brand launching of the Brampton Economic Development. Now, do you think it's good that international business is coming into this country or into this province for that matter? But do you think this is a little late coming? Like, what is your personal view? Shouldn't this have started a little earlier, maybe before the economic recession?
Yes.
Yeah. So, why didn't the PC party bring this up when they were there in the opposition before?
Oh, sorry. In term of what aspect?
The bringing the international business into Ontario.
It has been a theme that we've championed for some time. You know, when under PC government, Ontario had attracted more international investment than any other province. How did you do so? Well, obviously you should go after every business that you can, and you should agonize over those that you lose. And we want to make sure that if somebody else has New York or Michigan, Arizona or Alberta at the top of their list, we want to be on the top of that list. But no matter how talented or enthusiastic your sales team could be for the province, you have to have a good product to sell. And we've made some unfortunate decisions under the current government that have put our energy rates up, our taxes have gone up, more and more red tape, and communities like Brampton and Mississauga have ground to a halt with gridlock. If we want to sell our province, I'd be glad to be the top salesperson and my cabinet ministers and my MPPs, but we also have to have a province that has lower taxes, has less red tape, has affordable energy rates, is pro-free trade, right? Especially with countries like India and China growing middle classes. And very importantly, an attitude that trusts, that looks at businesses with respect as the job creators they are, not treating them with suspicion.
Last question, Mr. Hudak.
If I can just add very briefly to that, one of the roles that I do as an MPP is meet with prospective companies that want to site in my community. And almost without exception, the first question is about energy. Is it reliable? Which I can say absolutely, we've got a mix, it works, hydroelectric, nuclear. Is it affordable? And that's the challenge. Because if you speak to manufacturers, if you speak to homeowners, it doesn't take very long for them to tell you how their energy bills have escalated in the last 3 or 4 years. And it is a very important consideration for manufacturers, for new businesses, when they are making those siting decisions.
Last question.
Mr. Hudak, I think I counted about 10 to 12 times you used the word propping government, the NDP's propping government. But NDP said on the first day when Kathleen Wynne was appointed as a leader that she will give her enough chance before she toppled the government. On the other hand, you said on a very first point that you will oppose this government, you will not let it work. You will oppose it.
I don't think I said that.
I think
I know the words that come out of my mouth.
This is what I read in the newspaper. Maybe it's otherwise. Now, you said you're going to oppose the budget. At the same time, you're also recommending some drastic spending cuts. But if you're going to oppose the budget, then what's the point for them to reduce or increase the funding for you? You are going to oppose it anyways.
Let me.
Why is that political stand?
Let me tell you what the facts are. We've actually done our share, and I'm proud of it, of the heavy lifting. We've put more ideas out there on how to get our economy going, how to raise the bar in our education system, how to fix gridlock, and how to fix auto insurance than the other two parties combined. We have 12, we call them white papers, Paths to Prosperity. I know many of you have covered the white papers. I'd encourage, if you get a chance, please put it in your coverage. It's at OntarioPC.com, anywhere from healthcare to education to the economy to energy rates. I met with Kathleen Wynne on 3 occasions. to talk about our plan. I gave her copies of our white papers, and I said I was worried about the future of the province. We need to change course. She chose not to work with us. She chose to go in the opposite direction and to basically reinforce the Dalton McGuinty agenda. I think people are looking for change. I don't think they want more of the Dalton McGuinty liberal approach. They want a different path. I think it's unfortunate. It's regrettable that they made that choice. But if they're going to continue down that path, I think we have no choice than to say that we need to change the team that leads this province. And only the PC party's put a plan out there to get Ontario back on top on jobs and quality public services and stopping the debt financing. So that's the crossroads that we're at. I think the NDP have to ask themselves, after they see more scandals continuing to happen, are they going to continue to keep this tired government propped up, or with us and Ontario can do better?
So your final decision is election?
We need to change the team. I don't think I'd be more clear about this, right? We need to change the team that leads this province. And we did our best. Met with us 3 times. We put our own ideas on the table. They chose to go down a different direction. Let me put it this way. If you believe, I asked myself 2 questions. I asked myself, is Ontario on the right path? And my colleagues and I, and I bet the vast majority of your readers say no, that Ontario can do better than this. And then I asked myself a second question. Is the team that made deliberate decisions that got us in this mess able to get us out of it? And when they continue making the same types of decisions, the answer to that question is no as well. And if the answer to those questions are both no, you have no choice but to say you need to change direction and change the team. If you're living in a house that has a crumbling foundation, if you're not sure it's going to be safe for your kids, you don't agree to just simply change the wallpaper or change a coat of paint on the porch. You actually rebuild the house, a new foundation, and make it stronger. That's what we plan to do.
Thank you so much for coming.
Great.
Mr. Bell has a quick comment.
Yeah, I just want to make a request that we have been working with Pam Hundal here from last 2 years. Brought this to your attention a couple of times. I hope you remember. 6 still need an exemption from the motorcycle helmet in terms of riding the motorcycle. And we are going to follow up with her and with all the people on the front desk here. We are working on a proposal to have a joint all-party co-sponsored bill. And we need your support and your party's support for that.
Great. I know we were trying to get that 3-party together.
Yes,
and
but that didn't work out. Liberals backed out.